Hey, it's Ayla, and you are listening to the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. I got stuck, completely stuck. It had to do with the planets, they were not aligning in my favor, and I got stuck for many weeks. Things were just not moving, nothing was progressing like I wanted it to, and it sucked, basically, is what it boils down to. But I got unstuck. And I wanted to share my routine with you for how I get unstuck in the end. Sometimes there are periods in which I use this a lot, and sometimes it just works when I do this like once every 3 months. It depends on the season of life, on my mental state, on a lot of external things. But I noticed that every time that I got stuck, I use this routine to get unstuck again. So I figured, let's share it with the world, and hopefully it can help you too whenever you feel like you got your boots in the mud and you're just not moving forward. You're tearing on your boots trying to get them out and they just suck you right back into the mud. Well, if that's you right now, then this one is for you. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Ayla, and for over a decade I've been dedicated to helping entrepreneurs thrive. Welcome to the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. Here we focus on personal growth so your business can grow alongside you. Discover how to optimize your business, elevate your mindset, and truly feel and act like a CEO. This is more than just business, it's about transforming your entire entrepreneurial journey. Join me on this path to unlock your fullest potential. Hello, my darling. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today to another episode. Today, I'll be sharing some personal wisdom with you because I got stuck. And I think that we all get stuck from time to time. It's easy to get stuck because we have to-do lists that are never ending. And then there are kids that are also never ending. Hopefully they're never ending. And as lovingly as that may sound, it's also very much a case of the years are short, but the days are very, very long at the moment. I don't have a lot of time. No, I do have a lot of time. I mean, I have the same time as everyone else. I just crammed it completely with client work that I'm doing for building out my business, meaning that I'm having mastermind meetings in the evenings. I am doing podcast recordings in the evenings, mostly because the guests I'm interviewing are in another time zone, which means that it's evenings for me, usually when I record with them. I easily fill up 4 evenings a week, 4 work days a week. I have the renovations that I want to keep doing, which are in full swing since we're renovating the pool. I'm still working on the hallway upstairs, and there are many more projects that I'd like to be doing. And then there's also the regular stuff, like the household and everything. Just the other day, I was complaining to my mastermind buddies that sometimes I can envy my friends who are working a day job because they get to leave the office at the end of the day and just go home and not think about work, not plan all the stuff. And I just thought about that. One of my friends, she recently renovated her house completely, outsourced it completely. It was a massive project. They had to move out for a couple of weeks, and when they came back, everything was done. Their house is so shiny and new. And then she has a day job, and that's it. So when she gets home, she doesn't have to think about renovations, and she doesn't have to tame all the business ideas that are running around in her head. She just gets to be home and be with her kids. And sometimes I can be very jealous of that. That being said, I love being an entrepreneur, and I love having all these ideas, and I love that I'm actually able to act on them and help women around the world make their businesses better, balance it out with their family, make them happier. And it's just my joy and passion, and I love it. But still, sometimes I just wish I could close the door behind me and just fall down on the couch with a book and stop my head. So, yes, you can hear it. I got stuck. There was too much going on, and I just couldn't see a way out of it anymore. And when I get stuck, I get very ostrich-like. I put my head in the sand and I just ignore stuff. And that's what's been going on for basically the last 2 months almost. I am very much into astrology. And since I got into astrology, I notice how much influence the planets have on my life. Which, if you would have told me that like 5 years ago, I would have just laughed and laughed. But right now, I'm dead serious. The Mars retrograde was kicking my ass. Nothing got done, and everything was slow, and I couldn't move my body, and I couldn't work on the projects. It's just everything stood still. It was frustrating as hell. And then Mars went direct again, and this last week, it was insane. I have just ticked so many freaking boxes. I just kept going. For clients, in projects I'm doing with clients, we just processes that were stuck for months got solved by me. So that's like my go energy. And then I created a new freebie, which I'm very excited about. I am doing all these podcasts. I had breakthroughs. It's been an amazing week. I felt the need to move my body again, which is like, oh, fun, finally. Oh, and it just, everything got better, and I got unstuck. I had to help myself get unstuck because there was just so much on my plate that I couldn't see a way out of it. Here we are, circling back to the whole reason I started recording this episode, because I think we're all getting stuck from time to time. And by now I have my own methods for getting unstuck. I hope you have too. But still, it's nice to hear from someone else how they do it. So, first of all, I get brain dumpy. I write everything out by hand because that's just the way it works for me. I write it all out by hand. Maybe it would be more efficient if I wrote it out in like a task list on my computer, because then you can immediately process all the tasks that you're brain dumping onto a page instead of then having to copy them into your computer. I find that it works better if I am writing it all out, just letting it flow out of my head into my hand, onto the paper, out with it. And then from there on out, I can see what goes where, what belongs together, what is maybe just, I want to complain about something, just vent it out. And that's where I first start. Then I have everything on paper. The next thing I do is basically creating some time specifically for me to actually work through this stuckness. And such a lovely evening. I just sat in my office with candles all over, and I usually listen to binaural beats when I do this, or the best hertz frequencies, to really get into a deep flow state. And one of the things that I got really stuck with this time was a big, massive attack of imposter syndrome. I mean, we've all been there, I think, and from time to time we'll fall back into it. I don't know why I got back into it. Maybe it was the whole Mars thing that got me standing still, and then I thought things over too much or something. I don't know. I just got really stuck thinking, who am I to want to change the world? What do I have to say? I used my evening to work through that. I did it with ChatGPT, which, AI is my best friend right now. I just talk to my phone all day long about everything. It knows everything about me, and I don't mind that. I've never minded anything digital knowing everything about me. I've had a smart watch for years. I have a smart ring right now, and I'm just, I don't have anything to hide. I mean, don't go stealing my identity or something, but all the details, all the medical details, all stuff like that, like, I don't care. Yes, I'm very much not hesitating to share my woes with ChatGPT as well. I asked it to give me 3 journaling prompts to get me through the imposter syndrome. It was a lot of fun because the first round I came to the conclusion that my imposter syndrome was imposter syndrome. I reasoned in a circle. I told that to ChatGPT, like, the reason I'm hesitating to share because I'm not as successful as I think I should be is because I'm not as successful as I think it should be. It was, I don't know, remember exactly what it said. It was just a circle. And then it said, oh, let me help you out here because I think you're just running around in circles in your head. And then it gave me 3 new prompts. And that finally, writing the answers out to that gave me a breakthrough. And I could work through it and I could let it go. And that just caused a massive breakthrough in my energy as well. Being able to get unstuck very much, because it's very hard to work on your business when everything you do, you start to doubt. Is this really, should it be me who's telling them this? Should it be me who's coaching them? That's just slowing yourself down while it's really unnecessary. It's completely a subject for another day, for another episode. But I just wanted to share that my journaling session is the way I got unstuck. If you are stuck about something, I highly encourage you to use your digital AI friend to help you through it. Because I find that very often especially if you use it a lot, it can sort of reason back to you because it knows what you think is important already and knows the way you think. And then when you give it some information, it can just go, oh, but I know that you find this and this important, so that must mean that the problem you're facing now has to do with that. And very often I get so many cool insights from that. So yeah, journal it out, work through it in any way you can. For me, it's journaling. Maybe for you, it's a long walk while thinking it through. Maybe it's a talk with a friend. Maybe it's leaving a voice note to yourself. I don't know. Work it out. I also, last night, cleaned my office. And not just clean as in with detergent. Is detergent the word for that? No, I don't think it is. I tidied my office, is what I should say, because it just, when my space is cluttered, my mind is cluttered. And I know that's maybe a cliche, but for me it's true. When there's papers everywhere and I just sit here among the piles of posts and notebooks because I don't know, but I have 5 notebooks on my desk. I all use them for different purposes, but why are they on my desk? Why are they not stuck in a drawer? Because my drawer is full with all kinds of crap for my kids. Maybe clean that out, put the journals, notebooks in a drawer, and have a clean desk again. Tidy up my spaces is really something that helps me get unstuck, and it's so simple. And yes, it can also be not simple because tidying up spaces can easily turn into one of those projects where you're 3 days binge cleaning. That's not what I wanted to do. Yesterday, I just wanted to clean my office and have clean energy, have some space around me, because that's just very nice. Yeah, the last thing I do basically to get unstuck is get into silence, meditate, sit there, and I don't know if it's meditating as much, because for me, meditating often feels like you should quiet your head. You know, the way they teach it to you in Headspace. When I first learned it, I don't know, a decade ago, is when you have a thought come by, just imagine that it's a cloud and you send it on its way and then you're back in the quietness. For me, it's sometimes when I try to get unstuck, it's not about getting into complete quietness in my mind, but it's just letting things run out. Let scenarios play out, let thoughts play out, because I think that in a life where everything is busy, from morning till night, you're on the run for school routines and work and dinner and a bedtime routine and then sports, or it's just we are busy all day long, which means that very often I have trains of thoughts that I cut off midway through, that I'm feelings that I'm not feeling, thoughts that I'm not thinking. And when I'm trying to get unstuck, it very often helps to just sit for a bit and let those thoughts run through my head. And sometimes that's enough to send them on my way. And sometimes it's something that's sticking with me, that I'm thinking about, that I want to do something with. And then that's fine as well. It's the only thing I'm making sure that I'm not doing is, how do I say this? Is getting caught up in a train of thought. So, for example, if you have one of those fights that you're not having, like a hard conversation that you should have with your significant other or something, and if a conversation like that passes through me at a moment that I'm trying to get those thoughts to pass through me, to let it go, it would be very counterproductive to start having a mental fight with my husband. Then I would get stuck in that energy. I would rage myself up and think about ways I could talk to him about it, blah, 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 blah. So what I am doing is realizing I should really be having that conversation, because in a moment of quietness, it comes up for me, which means that it's unresolved. And I'm not trying to resolve it at that moment. I'm just acknowledging the fact that I should get it resolved, because apparently it's a thing if it's coming up for me when I'm open, if you will. So, yeah, get into silence and think about what you've done and think about what you will be doing in the future. And then if all the thoughts have run through, you can sit in silence, in an actual meditation, and enjoy the fact that you got all of that out of your system, that your spaces are now nice and tidy, and that you've brain dumped everything that was on your mental to-do list, that, you worked through everything in your journaling sessions, and then you get to enjoy the peace and quiet that it's bringing you. And whenever you feel stuck again, you just go through it again. Sometimes I have to do this a few weeks in a row, where I need to make sure that every space in my house is extra tidy, and I make sure that I document everything, that I journal every day. In the hard times of life, sometimes that's necessary. But sometimes it's not, and then one evening like that is enough. At least yesterday, I went to bed with such positive energy, just feeling all relaxed. I had clenched muscles in my back that relaxed throughout the evening, and by the time I was ready to go to bed, I just was calmness herself. That's why I wanted to record this episode for you today, because I hope that this may be helping you too whenever you get stuck in life. I hope that maybe, even if you don't apply the routine that I'm if you don't apply the routine that I'm using to get unstuck, maybe it helps you think about the things you do for yourself to get unstuck, and see if maybe it's time for you to go through it again. That would be nice for you. So, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. I hope you loved what you heard today. And if you did, it would mean a world to me if you could leave a review. Because believe it or not, reviews on podcasts are actually still used to make sure more people get to see this podcast in their screens and maybe click on it and learn something as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.